On February 23, 1836, Santa Anna, having captured the pickets sent out by Colonel Travis to guard the post from surprise, charged into San Antonio with his troops, variously estimated at from 6,000 to 10,000, only a few moments after the bells of the city rang the alarm. Captain Dickinson galloped up to our dwelling and hurriedly exclaimed, "The Mexicans are upon us! Give me the babe and jump up behind me." I did so, and as the Mexicans already occupied Commerce Street, we galloped across the river at the ford south of it, and entered the fort at the southern gate, when the enemy commenced firing shot and shell into the fort, but with little or no effect, only wounding one horse. There were 18 guns mounted on the fortifications, and these, with our riflemen, repulsed with great slaughter 2 assaults made upon them before the final one. I knew Colonels Crockett, Bowie, and Travis well. Colum Crockett was a performer on the violin, and often during the siege took it up and played his favorite tunes. I heard him say several times during the 11 days of the siege, "I think we had better march out and die in the open air. I don't like to be hemmed up." There were provisions and forage enough in the fort to have subsisted men and horses for a month longer. A few days before the final assault, 3 Texans entered the fort during the night and inspired us with sanguine hopes of speedy relief, and thus animated the men to contend to the last. A Mexican woman deserted us one night, and going over to the enemy informed them of our very inferior numbers, which Colin Travis said made them confident of success and emboldened them to make the final assault, which they did at early dawn on the morning of the 6th of March. Under the cover of darkness they approached the fortifications, and planting their scaling ladders against our walls just as light was approaching, they climbed up to the tops of our walls and jumped down within, many of them to immediate death. As fast as the front ranks were slain, they were filled up again by fresh troops. The Mexicans numbered several thousands while there were only 182 Texans. The struggle lasted more than 2 hours when my husband rushed into the church where I was with my child and exclaimed, "Great God, Sue! The Mexicans are inside our walls! All is lost! If they spare you, save my child!" Then, with a parting kiss, he drew his sword and plunged into the strife, then raging in different portions of the fortifications. Soon after he left me, 3 unarmed gunners who abandoned their then useless guns came into the church where I was and were shot down by my side. One of them was from Nacogdoches and named Walker. He spoke to me several times during the siege about his wife and 4 children with anxious tenderness. I saw 4 Mexicans toss him up in the air, as you would a bundle of fodder, with their bayonets, and then shoot him. At this moment a Mexican officer came into the room and, addressing me in English, asked, "Are you Mrs. Dickinson?" I answered, "Yes." Then said he, "If you wish to save your life, follow me." I followed him, and although shot at and wounded, was spared. As we passed through the enclosed ground in front of the church, I saw heaps of dead and dying. The Texans on an average killed between 8 and 9 Mexicans each. 182 Texans and 1,600 Mexicans were killed. I recognized Colonel Crockett lying dead and mutilated between the church and the 2-story barrack building, and even remember seeing his peculiar cap lying by his side. Colum Bowie was sick in bed and not expected to live, but as the victorious Mexicans entered his room, he killed 2 of them with his pistols before they pierced him through with their sabers. Columns Travis and Bonham were killed while working the cannon. The body of the former lay on top of the church. In the evening, the Mexicans brought wood from the neighboring forest and burned the bodies of all the Texans, but their own dead they buried in the city cemetery across the San Pedro.